Hi, in this video, I want to walk you through my portfolio book. I got this portfolio book from Blick, and it contains my paintings from January 2017 till July 2017. In August, we were moving, so I didn't get a chance to paint a lot. I was mostly using my sketchbook for most of my sketches and drawings, and I will work on giving you a tour of it once I'm done with it. It's this one. It's Moleskine watercolor sketchbook. I'm almost finished. I have just a few more pages left in it, and once I complete it, I will give you a tour as well. So in this flap there is quite a few drawings. I think most of them are of hedgehogs and unicorns. I'm not 100% sure, but let's see. So these guys I actually sell on Etsy as prints, and as you know, my YouTube channel is called Hedgehog and Unicorn, as well as my Instagram, as well as my Etsy, as well as my Skillshare. So here are these little guys that I sell as prints, and it was a little fun to paint them. We have here two different versions. I never sold this one. I don't know actually. Did I paint another one of this? I'm not 100% sure. This one of my favorite. I love winter a lot, and I love this hedgehog the most, I feel like, out of all of these guys. This is the guys that I use as my logo, and probably have to create a new one soon. These guys I used to get sick a lot, so painted unicorn being sick and a hedgehog taking care of him. And here's the birthday hedgehog. So these guys, I didn't want to spend one flapper each. I think they were in the beginning, but then I was running out of space, so I kind of just put them all together in this little guy. Okay, next one. I did a series of forest creatures. They're also in my Etsy shop, and I have here a squirrel, very cheeky bunny, a baby raccoon, and I have a fox. Oh, the fox is currently framed, and again, it's somewhere in the boxes. We still have a few boxes to go through to unpack. Okay, these guys were kind of a little bit random. I call my boyfriend Honey Bunny, and this is how it came to be, this painting. And I was selling them first as prints, and I think I will convert it into a greeting card or a postcard, because I feel like it's used more as a card rather than a print. Also, my boyfriend really likes this little sculpture that he saw. It was cactus, neon cactus, and it said lone cactus, so I kind of painted it for him. And then I love whales, and I was playing with brush lettering, and I was like, oh, might as well just use this painting for practicing my watercolor brush lettering, and I actually like how it turned out. So this is these guys. Next, this was one of the first wreaths I made, and then I created a class on Skillshare how to make your own wreath, and you will see them at the end of the portfolio as well. Again, you can see I was practicing my brush lettering. I prefer it more than writing with a nib, mostly because I'm better at brush lettering, so I need to practice more writing with a nib. And I love it, but it's definitely much harder than writing with watercolor brush. I don't paint a lot of realistic paintings. I enjoy doing it once in a while, but most of the time I like to create characters or even floral paintings in my own style, rather than trying to paint it photorealistic. But this was one of them, just a pair. here I was working on creating a pattern. I might make a pattern at some point out of these cacti. It was fun to paint them. Very easy, very simple. Same goes with feathers. I love painting feathers, mostly because when you use watercolors with them, you can create all these beautiful washes and see how one color bleeds into another. And again, feathers are perfect subject for that. And again, a little bit of brush lettering. Not the best I could do, but again, it was just fun to do that. And it's one of the motto I live by, so always dare to be yourself. This one empty. I think I had some sketches here and I took it out because I want to keep this portfolio not for sketches. This was the first attempt at inking, and I haven't inked before at all, and I wanted to try to ink something, and for some reason decided to pick one of the hardest flowers to draw in the first place. It's a hydrangea, and it turned out okay. I'm obviously not confident with my lines here. You can see they get really fat, and also just like you can see that I'm not confident with it, but I was happy how it turned out, considering that I've never done inking before, and it was a good learning experience. So donuts, I love donuts. All of these donuts are based on the donuts from Blue Star Donuts in Venice, California. It's one of my favorite donut shops, and to be specific, this is my favorite donut. It's raspberry basil donut, I believe. I think this is the one, and then this is one was creme brulee donut. I hope I pronounced it right. But no, all of them were delicious. This was another realistic drawing of a berry I made. I'm kind of thinking of making just a series and use them as greeting cards, maybe as prints, and just make a berry, a strawberry, a blue, or like I already have a blueberry, so I might make also blackberry. I also love gooseberry, and I know they're not popular in the United States. I've never seen it in being sold anywhere, but I grew up with eating gooseberries in the summer because my grandma had so many different bushes of them, and it was awesome. So I might paint one just to have it as just for myself as well. So there's that. Here's the watercolor hydrangea, so you can see it's the same hydrangea that I did with inking, and I don't remember what came first. I think I painted it first, and then I did the same one with inking, and yeah, I like this one more. I did it in the middle of the night, so the light was horrible. I still have to buy a lamp that doesn't give a yellow hue, because my vision is really bad in the first place. But then if I want to, I can never paint at night, because first I cannot see well, even with my contact lenses, but then also yellow light totally throws off the colors of my paint, so I can't tell what color I'm using. So I usually always paint in the first part of the day when there is a really soft light and it's white. So I need to get one of those bulbs that just give white light so I can paint anytime I want, which is silly. I should be able to get it at Home Depot, but I don't know, I never do. These are whales again. The reason I painted them was because it's so much fun to paint them with watercolors, because again you can make all these beautiful washes with watercolors. And I think I used only 2 colors here. I don't remember, I might have added some Payne's Gray to mix, but yeah, I love painting whales. So next one, this was my second inking attempt, and I was much happier with it. This is based of a full-scale sculpture in a Broad Museum in LA. I went there with my boyfriend, and I'm blanking on the name of the artist. Everybody knows him. He makes all these huge balloon kind of sculptures made out of metal. And I had a picture of it, and all these all these lines are were from the ceiling of the museum. So the ceiling had like all this kind of like honeycomb style, and they were curved obviously on the sculpture, and the sculpture itself was silver, so it was pretty easy to ink it afterwards, because it's just if you especially put it in a grayscale, it's pretty straightforward, black and white. And I was really happy with how it turned out. I might actually frame it and put it above my desk, because also another reason I'm making this video is because I'm trying to pick the paintings that will go above my desk, since I'm still in the process of setting up my studio, and right now the wall is pretty empty, so I think this guy will go on the wall. And then I made a quick series of leaves. I know this leaf is very popular, just in general, people love to paint these tropical leaves. Not too happy with how it turned out. It turned out to be too heavy and too dark. I love to use watercolors, so what they stand for, they're light, translucent, and I kind of here was fighting watercolors. I ended up making it more like as if I was painting with acrylics or oils. So I will be probably repainting this guy. So here's a perfect example. This branch is an eucalyptus branch. Also, I'm sorry about my nails; they are chipping away, and I didn't have time to go and fix them. But okay, back to the drawings. Here you can see how light and airy the colors are, and that's how I like to keep my watercolor paintings. And with this guy, again, I went a little bit too heavy with it. I'm still happy with how it turned out. I like the vibrancy of the colors, but again, it's too heavy. I feel like I kind of lost the quality I could get from watercolors. So I might repaint him again. We'll see. I do like this leaf a lot, though. Next. So this is a series of hydrangeas I made. I currently sell them as cards and prints on my Etsy shop, and they are the most popular actually items in my Etsy shop. And there's 3 of them, so there is blue, purple, and pink. And they all have a little bit of different style to them. So with pink, you can see there are like little dots that kind of feather out. With blue, it's much more smoother, but you can see the veins. And the purple one is kind of mixed between the two, as if you would put the blue one and pink one together, and you would get this guy. This is a freesia. I actually painted it off the real branch that I was growing on my balcony. So this spring I bought freesia from Home Depot, and I never grown it before, but I grew up with those flowers and I love them so much because they smell amazing, plus they're so beautiful. And so yeah, this one was actual flower that was growing on my balcony in a little tiny pot, and it's painted on hot press paper. And most of my paintings are painted on cold press paper because I do prefer cold press to hot press paper because of the texture, but for some subjects it's better to pick hot press paper. So for example, for this freesia, then for all the realistic drawings like this ones, it's better to pick hot press paper, because then you are not fighting this texture. Because if you want to have a stylized drawing, texture actually helps you to create your own style and make it more moody or whatever you're going for. And with a hot press paper, it's very smooth, so you're not finding the texture, and it's much easier to make it more photorealistic, if that's what you want to do. So these my hydrangeas and freesia, and then these 2 seashells, actually they're kind of out of order because these were the last 2 paintings I painted, and they're currently in my Skillshare class where I teach how to paint these 2 seashells. They're painted on cold press arches paper, and yeah, if you want to learn how to paint them, I'll put a link below to my Skillshare class. Okay, so here are more inking paintings, and here, these guys I'm pretty happy with. This is the whale, and actually the way you look at it is this way. So imagine you're under the sea, and what I like about drawing with ink is that you decide on what to make light and what to make dark, and you cannot shade really. There's only two values, white and black. There is no gray color. And because of that, you have to become very creative as to how you're going to create volume and a depth effect. So what I did is I decided to flip this a little bit around. So the whale is actually underneath the ocean, as you would expect a whale to be. And this is actually the ripples on the oceans if you were looking at it from underneath. And this is based off a real picture. And what I liked about the oceans, when you look from underneath up, you can see the sun breaking through, and it's just so beautiful. So that's what I did, and this print is very popular on my Etsy shop as well, and I like it a lot. I might frame it as well on the wall. This is my turtle, another popular print on my Etsy shop, and here it's again the turtle is actually swimming. Again, this is, if you imagine, this is just the ocean. You can see the sky through the water, and then again the ripples of the water. So again, it's just fun to tell the story with just two colors, and I like it. I think it's very liberating because you don't have to worry about color theory or the tones. You just have to worry about two things: how to make sure that you give the depth and the right mood, and make sure that you don't make it too dark or too light, but you convey the subject and you tell your story. I love inking, so I'm really looking forward to Inktober this year because I've never participated in it, so I'm pretty excited to participate this year. And so it's these two prints I currently sell as prints on Etsy, and this guy, it's a starfish, and these are the lines from the sun that sun makes on the sand floor of the ocean. Again, it was based off a real photo that I found on Pinterest, I think, and it was fun to paint. To continue with my inking projects, this was another one that I painted. I don't sell it as a print. I'm not too happy with how it turned out. It still was fun to draw it, but I think it was more of a study than actually finished product. This guy I like, but again, I feel like it kind of lost the feel of movement, because with these two you can see the movement, and here it became a little bit too static, and I wasn't happy with that. But I like the details that I put, and I like the strokes. So overall it's a good drawing, but again, I don't sell it as a print because I'm not too happy to do that. So these are the series I made for Art Star Gallery. It's a gallery in New York, and they wanted to collaborate with me where I would create a series of paintings for them so that they can sell as prints. And it was for little collector series, so all of these are for nurseries. So I did the first one as a series of baby animals. So this is one of my favorite paintings out of the series because I like how gentle the colors are, and I think for a nursery, I think this is the painting that I would hang if I had kids, because it's very calm and soothing. And then there are these guys. There's a little bear. Oops, sorry for shaking the camera. So I put them all in a different tiny little wreath to give kind of like cohesiveness and completeness to the picture. And then there's a little baby goat, which I love a lot because he's adorable. And then there is baby deer. Let me move it so you can see it. Here's a baby deer. And then there is a baby owl. And actually both of these are second attempts, because the first time I painted a baby deer and then a baby owl was not happy, and you will see them in a few seconds. So this is the owl that I painted first, and turned out too heavy, kind of it doesn't look like a baby owl, more like a more mature owl. And so then I gave it another try, and again tried to keep watercolors very light and translucent. And I ended up liking this one so much more. This little bunny was the first class that I put on Skillshare. I also put a link to it. It's how to create your own baby animal. So again, if you want to learn how to paint this bunny, go ahead and take a look at my class. Again, also with Skillshare, if you use the link, you get, I believe, first 3 months of free of premium membership, so you can actually get access to all other classes there. And there's so many amazing classes on Skillshare. I love personally, you can learn to do so many different things there. Okay, and here's another deer. So you can see that it's much heavier. It's not in the same style that I did the other ones, especially the eyes, because as you can see, all the eyes on my baby animals have like this pretty much just dot. And this one, and the nose is too big. I mean, it's a cute deer, but I was not happy with it, so I did another painting, and I ended up liking this guy much more. So there's that one. And then, so me working with watercolors all started because of this, actually. So for the longest time, for many years, I've been painting only with oils. I love oils as a medium. Most of my paintings are in Virginia at my sister's house. Actually, I think both of my sisters have my paintings. And then when I moved to LA, I don't want to paint with oils because it's always hard to find space. I didn't have enough space. I didn't have much time. And I did paint one painting with oils, which is currently will be about to be hang in our living room, which I love a lot, and I'll share a picture of it a little bit later. But I wanted to paint again, but I wanted to have easy access to be able to just pick it up anytime and just paint. And watercolor is great with that. All you have to do is you need just a little space on a desk, a piece of paper, water, and your colors, and it's not messy, it dries quickly, and you're done, which is great. So I wanted to paint how I met my boyfriend, and these 3 paintings are basically the depiction of it. At that time I was blonde, so I met him at this coffee shop in Venice called Intelligentsia. It's one of my favorite coffee shops. And I approached him and asked him if the seat was taken, and he said that it wasn't, and the rest is the history. So I need to frame these guys and put them on the wall, but I wanted to paint something for him. And again, I didn't have access to my oils at that point because I think they were still in Virginia. So I was like, okay, let me pick up watercolors again, because I haven't touched them since I was probably in the 1st grade. And after that, here we go. 6 months later, I have a full portfolio of paintings. I have Skillshare classes, and I have an Etsy shop. So it's funny how it happens. This is another series I made for Art Star Gallery. They wanted me to paint a few unicorns. So they want a unicorn on a floaty, So there's this guy. And I'll put a link to their gallery where you can buy the prints as well. And this is one of my favorite, because it's a unicorn fishing with a cupcake. So it was fun to paint this guy. My favorite, I think, is this one, because it is very similar to the color scheme I did with the elephant. It's very light and gentle, and who doesn't like ice cream? And then I did the little unicorn in the field, and another one surfing because California. And then I think this is the last series that I did was I did a class on Skillshare where I teach how to paint a wreath with watercolors, and these are the wreaths that you will see in the class. It's just a simple green one, and then there was one that I painted and my camera stopped working, so I had to do it twice. It was, I think, either this one or this one. So one of them did not get recorded. I think this one was not recorded, so I had to go and record and paint this guy. And then I did a little bit this one, and one is big flowers, and just blue and pink and red, and an inspiration for this one I got from the one where I showed you the baby elephant wreath, because again I really like this color scheme, so I kind of took this wreath and made a big one in the same style here. So yeah, here we go. My first portfolio of watercolor paintings finished. It's crazy. I think I've been painting every single day, either in my sketchbook or actually doing full-scale paintings. And I'll give you a tour of my sketchbook as well once I'm finished with it. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you want to see more of these. And yeah, have a good one.